It came in through a gap you didn't know existed. Maybe you heard it first, a soft, erratic fluttering in the dark. Then you turned on the light and saw it. A bat. Moving in fast, disorienting circles around your bedroom or living room, wings almost silent, navigating the space with a precision that seemed impossible for something moving that fast in an enclosed room. Your first instinct was panic, and your second instinct was to get it out, as fast as possible, by any means necessary. But before you grab a broom, open every window, and spend the next hour in a state of controlled terror, I need you to understand something. The bat in your house is not there to hurt you. It is not hunting you. It is not carrying the plague. It made a wrong turn, and it is just as disoriented and frightened as you are. And the bat that lives near your home, in your attic, under your eaves, in the gap behind your shutters, is doing something for your family every single night that most people never stop to appreciate. Today, we are going to talk about what bats actually are, what they are actually doing, and why the three things most Americans fear about them are either exaggerated, misunderstood, or simply not true. Let's start with the fear that drives almost every bat encounter in an American home: rabies. The word alone is enough to send most people into immediate alarm, and it is not an irrational fear. Rabies is a serious disease, and bats are a known wildlife reservoir for it. But the risk, as most people perceive it, is dramatically out of proportion to the actual statistical reality. According to the Centers for Disease Control, fewer than 10 people in the United States die from rabies each year. Of those cases, the majority involve bats, but the absolute number remains extraordinarily small relative to the population. The probability of contracting rabies from a bat that enters your home without direct contact, without a bite or scratch, is effectively zero. The virus is transmitted through saliva entering a wound or mucous membrane. A bat flying around your room is not a rabies transmission event. The precaution that health authorities recommend, seeking medical evaluation if you wake up to find a bat in the room where you were sleeping, because a bite from a small bat can be imperceptible, is a reasonable one. But it reflects the abundance of caution appropriate for a disease with no cure once symptomatic, not evidence that bat encounters are routinely dangerous. Less than 1% of wild bats tested carry rabies. The bat in your attic is almost certainly not one of them. Now let's address the second fear: vampires. Of the approximately 1,400 known species of bats in the world, exactly 3 feed on blood. All 3 are found exclusively in Central and South America. None of them live in the United States. The bat in your yard, your attic, or your bedroom is an insectivore. It eats insects exclusively, and it has no interest whatsoever in your blood, your neck, or anything else about you except the insects flying around your porch light. The vampire bat myth has persisted in American culture for over a century, driven by literature and film rather than biology. The reality is that the bat sharing your neighborhood is functionally the opposite of a predator toward humans. It is a predator of the insects that bite you. And the third fear, the one about bats getting tangled in hair, is perhaps the most easily dismissed. A bat's echolocation system, which we will discuss in detail shortly, can detect objects smaller than a human hair at distances of several meters. A bat navigating a room with a person in it is tracking every object in that space with extraordinary precision. It is not going to fly into your hair. It is actively avoiding you. The erratic flight pattern that looks so alarming is the bat trying to find the exit, not targeting anyone in the room. 3 fears, 3 myths. None of them survive contact with the actual biology. Now let's talk about what the bat is actually doing, because this is where the story becomes genuinely remarkable. The bat hunts using sound, not vision, sound. It produces pulses of ultrasonic noise, typically between 20,000 and 100,000 hertz, far above the range of human hearing. These pulses travel outward, strike objects in the environment, and return as echoes. The bat's brain processes these echoes in real time, constructing a precise 3-dimensional map of everything around it: the distance, size, shape, texture, and movement speed of every object in its path. This system, called echolocation, allows a bat to navigate in complete darkness with an accuracy that rivals the best human-made radar. It can detect a wire less than a millimeter thick in mid-flight. It can track a single moth through a forest of branches. It can distinguish between a leaf and an insect of identical size based on the subtle difference in the echo each produces. Researchers at Johns Hopkins University and other institutions have studied bat echolocation as a model for engineering applications, sonar systems for submarines, navigation tools for autonomous vehicles, and assistive technology for visually impaired people. The bat hunting moths above your garden at night is carrying one of the most sophisticated biological sensor systems ever studied. And every pulse it sends is targeting something that, in most cases, you would prefer not to have near your home. A single bat hunting actively through a warm summer night can consume thousands of insects. Mosquitoes, gnats, moths, beetles, and other nocturnal flyers that feed on your plants, breed in your standing water, and bite you and your family when you sit outside. The agricultural value of bat pest control across North America is estimated at billions of dollars annually. Bats consume enormous quantities of crop-damaging moths and beetles that would otherwise require chemical intervention to control. The bats near your home are not decorative, they are functional. They are running a pest management operation in the airspace above your yard every night, processing insects at a rate and efficiency that no trap, no spray, and no electric zapper comes close to matching. Now let's talk about the biology that has made the bat one of the most studied animals in modern medical research, and why the animal most associated with disease in popular culture is, scientifically, one of the most medically interesting animals on the planet. Bats are the natural reservoir for a remarkable number of viruses, including coronaviruses, filoviruses related to Ebola, and others that have caused significant human outbreaks when they crossed into other species. This fact, widely reported in recent years, has deepened the fear and misunderstanding around bats in popular culture. But the story that receives far less attention is this: bats carry these viruses without becoming seriously ill from them. Their immune systems have developed a relationship with viral pathogens that is fundamentally different from any other mammal group. Rather than mounting the kind of aggressive inflammatory response that causes much of the damage in human viral infections, bat immune systems appear to tolerate viral presence at a controlled level, suppressing inflammation while maintaining enough immune activity to prevent the virus from overwhelming the host. Researchers at the University of California and other institutions are studying bat immune biology specifically because understanding how bats coexist with viruses without becoming sick may offer insights into developing antiviral therapies for humans. The bat is not a symbol of disease. It is a living model of disease resistance, and science is paying very close attention to it. There is one more dimension to the bat story that connects directly to your garden and your yard, and it is the one that makes protecting them not just interesting, but urgent. Bat populations across North America are in serious decline. The primary cause is a fungal disease called white nose syndrome, caused by the pathogen Pseudogymnoascus destructans, which has killed an estimated 6 million bats in North America since it was first detected in a New York cave in 2006. It spreads through bat hibernation sites, disrupting the hibernation process and causing bats to burn through their fat reserves and starve before spring. The loss of bat populations has measurable consequences for agriculture, for pest control, and for the ecosystems that depend on the insects bats normally suppress. In areas where bat populations have collapsed, agricultural pest damage has increased, and the cost of chemical pest control has risen in direct proportion. The bat colony under your eaves, or in the gap behind your shutters, or in the hollow tree at the edge of your property, is not a nuisance. It is a fragment of a population that is genuinely struggling, doing work that is genuinely valuable, in a habitat that is becoming increasingly rare. So what do you actually do when you find a bat in your home? Stay calm. Open a window or door to the outside and give the bat a clear exit route. Turn off interior lights if possible. Bats navigate better in darkness and toward exterior light sources. Do not attempt to catch or handle it with bare hands. In most cases, the bat will find its own way out within minutes. If a bat has been in a room where someone was sleeping or where a child or pet was present and unattended, contact your local health department for guidance. Not because the risk is high, but because it is the appropriate precaution for a disease with serious consequences. And the bat colony living near your home, the one you have been thinking about removing, leave it. The mess it produces is real and manageable. The service it provides is real and irreplaceable. A professional wildlife exclusion service, if the location is genuinely problematic, can relocate a colony humanely and install a bat house nearby that gives them an alternative roosting site while keeping them working your property. The bat that came in through your window last Tuesday was not an invader. It was a neighbor who got lost. And the colony it came from has been quietly, invisibly protecting your yard, your garden, and your summer evenings from the insects you most want gone. Every single night, without asking for anything in return. That is worth knowing, and it is worth protecting. Have you ever had a bat in your house, or discovered a colony living somewhere on your property? Tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. And if today was the day the most feared animal in your neighborhood became the most appreciated one, then something just shifted in the way you see the night. That shift is exactly what this community is built on. I'll see you in the next one.